Hi everyone, today we're going to be talking about solving, adding, and subtracting inequalities. So adding and subtracting inequality problems are just like equations. So all you have to know is how to solve equations and how to graph an inequality, and you're going to know everything we have to do today. So I want to start with my first example. It says x plus 3 is greater than or equal to negative 2. So when I graph something like this, what I need to do first is isolate that x, or get that x all by itself. So we follow those steps of solving an equation. So I'm going to draw my line here, and I know that I'm going to try to get x all by itself. So I do the opposite operations on that number next to it. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. All right, those go away, and I get x equals, or is greater than or equal to, make sure you keep that sign with you. So I'm just copying it down. And now I have negative 2 minus 3. Well, negative 2 minus 3 is a keep, change, change problem. Keep, change, change. So this makes same sign sum, negative 5. Okay, so right now my problem is x is greater than or equal to negative 5. So I solved the inequality. Now I need to graph it. And if you remember how we graph these, is I'm going to go to negative 5, and I want to do a closed dot. Closed dot because there is a line underneath that. So close my circle, and then it's saying x is greater than, so I need to shade to the right. If you want to remember a little trick, I said you could draw a little line in here, and it creates an arrow showing you which way you need to shade. So I need to shade this way. X is greater than negative 5. And there you go. That's how you solve a subtraction or adding inequality. So let me show you one more. If you go to the next one, it says negative 6 is less than y minus 5. On negative 6 is less than y minus 5, the variable is not on the right or on the left-hand side. And that's confusing to me. So I'm still going to do the same thing I did earlier, where I'm going to do the flip-flop of this. So I'm going to rewrite this inequality as y minus 5. So I just flip. Then don't forget I have to flip my sign is greater than negative 6. Okay, now that my variable is on the left-hand side, I can go ahead and isolate it and try to solve for y. So I'm doing that same thing. I draw my line. And because it says minus 5, I'm going to add 5 to both sides. Okay, so this is y is greater than, and now I have negative 6 plus 5. So this negative 6 plus 5 is a different sign difference problem, which would give me negative 1. So my inequality is y is greater than negative 1. Okay, well, I need to graph this on the number line. So I'm going to go to negative 1. It's going to be an open circle because it doesn't have a line underneath it. It can't touch it. And it's saying y is greater than, so I'm going to shade to the right. Again, you could use your little cheat, draw an arrow in there, and it would show you an arrow pointing this way. Y is greater than negative 1. Okay, so I just did those two. It is your turn to try these two. Pause the video, and then we will come back to talk about those. Pause your video. Okay, hopefully that went well for you. I'm going to talk through it really quick in case you had some issues. On this first one, I drew my line. I add 5 to both sides to isolate that y variable, and I get that y is greater than negative 2 because I have negative 7 plus 5, which is a different sign difference. Keep the sign of the greater. So it's negative 2. So y is greater than negative 2, or equal to, because it has that line underneath. So I'm going to make a closed dot at negative 2, and I'm going to be graphing greater than negative 2. That means I need to graph to the right-hand side. I need to shade that way, and it is all numbers that go this way. Y is greater than negative 2. On this next one, make sure you don't get mixed up. When you go ahead and switch those, don't forget that you have to switch this inequality sign here. So I have 12 plus x is less than 21. I have to switch everything, flip-flop everything. So this leaves me with x is less than 9 when I subtract 12 from both sides. And then I'm going to go ahead and graph this and make sure there's an open circle because it doesn't have a line underneath. All right, what I would like you to do is I want you to try a couple more. You can try 2, 3, 4, and 5. and then I will come back to you and check them with you. So try 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pause your video. Try those ones. All right, here's what I got for those. On number 2, I get x is greater than or equal to 5. I've got a closed dot, and I'm going greater than. On number 3, and if you get any of these wrong, pause your video and go back through and fix them and try to find your mistake. The next one I got z is less than 8, so open circle and my line pointing that way to the left. The next one, number 4, I got t is greater than 7, open circle, and I'm going to the right. And finally, number 5, I get y is less than 6, open circle, and I shade it in. Okay, now that I've got all that done with you, I want you to flip it over to the back. You have these problems here to complete. You can use some extra work on the side, whatever you need. Make sure you graph each one of these and really check, is my dot open or closed? And then do the challenge questions. Let's see how many of you can get there. Make sure you do your best and try to get as many problems done correctly, because you will be winning some prizes at my next table for those people who can do that. All right, great work, guys.